Hello, hello, hello. It is Cassandra Terry, your manifesting miracle maker. And today is Wake Up Wednesday. And on Wednesday, not, wait a minute, no, it's Thankful Thursday. I just traveled backwards in time. It is Thankful Thursday. And on Thankful Thursday, we talk about gratitude. So I am going to give it just a second to see who's joining. But we're going to get started because gratitude is my favorite topic. One of my absolute favorite topics. Let's see. Today, what I had promised all week long is that as we go through the days, that we would not just talk about the concepts of the days like gratitude, but talk about ways to actually implement that concept into your world. How do you have a better gratitude practice? So that's what I promised all week long is how-to discussions or tools or tips or maybe something from a book or article that I read that I thought might be helpful. And so today is no different. As we talk about gratitude, I want to give you the opportunity to actually practice it, but practice it from the self-gratitude. Everything starts with the self. It starts with you. So if you're not in a position to where you can be grateful for just who you are and how you are and where you are and what you are, if you can't find things to be grateful for in your very existence, it's going to be difficult to find things to be grateful for in other ways, right? So today's gratitude is all about you. So you get that, Bridget? We are going to be talking about how you are you. And so I thought about that last night and I created some questions for you guys to ponder. So if you're watching it now, grab something to write with or pull up the notepad on your phone or whatever the case may be. And if you're watching this later, go ahead and hashtag replay. Let me know that you were here. And if you have any questions, comments, whatever, drop them and I will get back to them when I'm online again just as soon as possible. So I'm picking on you because I love to talk directly to somebody. Um, so the question, if you've got something to write with, or give me a thumbs up, Bridget, because I really want you to, if you can, practice this. I'm waiting to see if she gives me a thumbs up. You can let me know if the music is distracting as well. I can turn it down or turn it off. All right, there's a thumbs up. So I know at least one person is ready to go, ready to write. Okay, so I'm going to start asking you some questions, Bridget. And what I'm hoping is that, okay, good, the music is okay. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions. And what I'd like for you to do is to really think about the answer to that question and jot it down. And if you can't come up with an answer, go write the question down and think about it later, or think about why you couldn't come up with something for yourself in that space. Because what we're looking for always is where we have self-limiting beliefs, where there are things that are going on inside of our heads that could be holding us back. So I'm hoping that these questions, one, will help you figure out if there's some spaces where you're not being so kind to yourself internally, and also start to generate that gratitude and help you to realize the blessing that you are just as you are. So, first question is, what is your best quality? If someone runs into you, if someone has the pleasure of getting to know you, what are they getting? What's the best thing about you? Can you answer that question? And hopefully it doesn't take you long because you know about the goodness of who you are and what you are. And if you don't, that's okay. Just write the question down and you can ponder it later and really think about why it was difficult to answer. So what's your best quality? What's the best thing about you? Talking. Well, that runs in the family. We are some talkers. All right. Why would someone be excited to get to know you? What is your biggest accomplishment? And just so far, check in with yourself. What's happening in your body? How are you feeling? When I ask these questions, are things coming to mind or are you struggling to answer? Does it make you uncomfortable to think about the positive things about yourself? Just take a minute and notice what's happening and how you're feeling. And there's no right or wrong answers. If I have to repeat that every day, every time we're doing something like this, I'm going to continue to repeat it. There are no right or wrong answers. Even if you're not excited about what you're feeling or you really don't like what's coming up, get excited by the fact that you're gaining awareness. You're learning more about yourself. You're aware of something about yourself that you weren't just 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago. So you're learning and you're growing. You are here. That star on the directory at the mall. We always need to know where we are to figure out where we're going. So remember that when you start to get uncomfortable or you don't like how things are going, you're just learning, gaining another level of awareness so that you can make the necessary adjustments to get on track and have the life that you desire. So really feel as we talk about these things, what's happening in your body? How do you feel? Is everything okay? Or are you starting to get uncomfortable? Okay. So the questions that we've asked so far, what's your best quality? Why should someone be excited to get to know you? What are you most proud of about yourself? And what's your biggest accomplishment? So hopefully you've got some answers to those questions, or at least you have some awareness that you struggle to think positively about yourself. And that's a place where we can do some work. So if that's the case, it's okay. It is okay. All right. Then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to say some words. And I happen to know, Bridget, because I know you, that every one of these words apply to you. They are all absolutely factual. But the question that you have to ask yourself is, as we're going through this and as I'm saying these words, do you feel them? Do you believe them about yourself? Hopefully you do. But if you find words that you struggle with, write that word down, and then we can talk later, or you can do your own self-evaluation as to why that particular word is you're having a hard time applying that adjective to yourself. All right. So the first word that I want you to apply to yourself is, and say it, go ahead and say it out loud to yourself. I am brilliant. And if you're not in a place to where you can say it out loud, just say it in your head. If people are looking, they won't even know what you're thinking. It's okay. I am brilliant. Is that factual for you? I am exceptional. How does that feel? I'm loyal. I'm smart. I am beautiful. If we have any men watching, I am handsome. I'm a good person. I'm honest. Hopefully this next one it fits everybody, feels good to everybody. I am enough. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be anything. I don't have to gain anything. I don't have to be any differently than how I am right now in this moment. And I'm enough. If you don't feel that, write it down because there's some work to be done there. I'm lovable just the way I am. First thing in the morning, haven't brushed my teeth, haven't combed my hair, still a little sleepy, so I may not be in the best mood. Lovable. Not at my finest, not at my best self, not when my makeup and my hair is just right, not when I'm wearing the right outfit, not when I have the right job, not when I have the right credentials. Right now, who I am, as I am lovable. How does that feel? I am wonderful. The Bible says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And my God don't lie, so I am wonderful. I am important. Just as I am. I am important. Me. Not a title, not a certain amount of money in the bank, not a certain neighborhood, not a certain car that I drive, not a certain role that I play. Me, stripped down, bare at my essence, just as I am important. Do you believe that? Because it's true. But where it has to be true is to you. That's why you hear me say all the time, and you'll see it right under my name there, the voice within wins. If you tell yourself these things and you actually believe them, that is how you're going to move through the world. If you believe that you're less than any of these things, that becomes your reality. That is your truth. And you live a life that will measure up to what you believe. If you believe that you're wonderful, you're going to get busy creating a wonderful life for yourself. You will be in a wonderful environment. You will only tolerate things and people that treat you like you're wonderful. So that's why it's so important to get it in here, because what's going on out there is not nearly as important. When somebody tells me something about myself that I haven't internalized, that I don't believe, you can tell me the most horrific thing about myself. But if I don't believe it, it has no value. It doesn't sting. I may laugh and wonder, what's wrong with this person? They don't see me. I don't know what glasses they're wearing, but the lenses are not good. They don't see me clearly. And I've experienced that a lot in my life. But I wasn't always internally grounded and strong enough to not allow what somebody else said to shake me to my core. That's why this work is so important to me. I wrote an article several months back, sometime last year, called You Must Embody It. I reference it every once in a while. And I wrote that because what somebody else says about you has absolutely no value if you don't believe it. They can tell you you're the best thing ever. And if you don't believe it, you're going to think they're just buttering you up. They're just being nice. They're just talking. They can tell you that you're a horrible person. But if you walk around with a self-belief that you are wonderful, they're not going to touch that self-belief. You're going to wonder what's wrong with them. So it's just that important. It's your protection. It is your confidence. Everything comes from how you feel about yourself. It sets up everything. That's why I talk about self-limiting beliefs and things like that so much. It's the core of it all. All right. So you are important. You are special. And special can have a couple of different connotations. Sometimes when I tell somebody they're acting special, it's not a compliment. But in this case, what we're saying is you are wonderfully, you are uniquely made. There is no one else like you. You have a unique assignment. You were born for a reason. You are not here just to breathe, live, and die. You are here because the world needs something in a way that only you can provide. Let that sink in. Only you can provide something that somebody else needs. It may be out there in many ways, coming through the world and through different sources, showing up in different ways. But the way you bring it is what somebody's waiting for. You're that important. You're that special. And you're innovative. What does that mean? You come up with great ideas. You don't have to just do things the way that they're always done. You are capable of being creative and coming up with the ideas and the steps and the processes and everything that you need to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And if you don't have the answer, you're smart enough to find the person who does. You just have to see yourself that way. You're a deep thinker. You're witty, smart, funny. You're intelligent. So those are a lot of positive, not affirmations, but adjectives at best, really positive words. And when you hear them coming at you and they're used to describe you, the question is, do you really believe it? Do you really see yourself that way? Is that you? I believe that it is. It's me and a whole bunch of other things. I wish I could turn my camera around so you guys could see it. I have a probably 3 foot tall, maybe, dry erase board on my wall. And because it's in my office and that's my girly space, it's a pretty rose color. and I had a white and a black dry erase marker. And one time I sent a text out to a bunch of my friends and asked them to send me adjectives about me. Because at that time I wasn't so good at lifting myself up, but I was in therapy and that was one of my exercises. And the words that they wrote that they sent me back are on the wall: smart, caring, resilient, determined, inspirational, hardworking, encourager, charismatic, uplifting. It goes on and on and on. I have a wall of words that people said to me, but the reason those words matter is because I believe them. I can easily apply them to myself and go, that's right. I am that. Sit up a little taller, fluff your collar, feel good. And you're able to do that when you actually start to do the work to look past your circumstance and into who you really are. Who's the person behind the eyes? Because the eyes are looking outward and just seeing all this stuff that's going on and going, whew, this is rough. It may be. It may be. That can be a valid assessment, but that doesn't mean you're rough. You may be going through a rough situation, but you are not the product of your situation. You're not. You're a whole, complete, separate thing. And you're actually a whole, complete, separate thing from your thoughts, which is why we talk about them so much. If you can learn to step back and observe your thoughts, you can capture them and you can rewrite them and you can train them. And then they become eventually over time, instead of automatic negative triggers, you can reset that clock to where you're cheering yourself on. You are your own best cheerleader. Sometimes the world shows up and cheers you on. Sometimes it doesn't. Doesn't matter. You're always going to have you. And what you say about yourself is what matters the most. So that's my encouragement to you, is to learn to become an observer of your own thoughts. And as you observe those thoughts, anything that pops up that doesn't serve you, it's time to get to work. It's time to get to work and rewrite those thoughts. And just because you rewrite them doesn't mean you're going to believe them. It takes practice. You have to say them over and over again. You have to show up as that adjective. And you have to start to teach yourself who you really are. I'm not the thoughts that are playing in my head. A lot of those thoughts are born out of trauma. They're born out of heartbreak. They're born out of some disappointment. Those are experiences. They're not you. You are separate from your experiences, and so is everybody else. That's why today, when somebody walks up to me and they're not showing up as their best self, or they're being really negative, my trigger is not as fast as it used to be. My response to them is not as centered on me as it used to be. I'm wondering what's going on with you. This person is really behaving badly. I wonder what's going on with them. And when I'm able to look at it like that, I can take myself out of the situation. And instead of pouring gas on the fire, I may be able to de-escalate and actually make it a better situation and help somebody who's acting out because they're in trouble, because they're in need, because they're hurting. Hurt people hurt people. We've heard that before, and it's true. When I was at my emotional worst self is when I was the hardest to deal with, because I was struggling just to get out of bed, struggling just to be. And when you're struggling just to be, any little stimulation that comes through, it's too much. And so you lash out. You don't have the capacity to be a quote unquote good person when you're really hurting. And so if we're putting those expectations on people, hey, Miss McKinney, if we're putting those expectations on people when they're really struggling, we're adding to their burden. And sometimes we just have to show up and give grace. I know that is not how you usually behave, or I know you're going through something, so I'm gonna give you this one. we don't even have to get tangled up about it, because I know this isn't you. That is the biggest gift. It is heartbreaking. It has been heartbreaking to me at times when people have really expected something bad out of me, and I'm like, why would you think that? And then I have to think we're only able of thinking from our particular point of view. So that person is probably struggling right now. That person is probably in pain. And so if I measure you for the rest of your life by your moments of pain, then I never allow you to heal and step outside of that. And guess what? Sometimes the you that you never allow to heal and step outside of their pain experiences is the person in the mirror. It's yourself. Maybe you did some things that you're not proud of. Maybe you reacted in a way that you wish you hadn't have. We're all human, doing the best we can. And if we come from that perspective, realizing and thinking that the person that we're interacting with is human, doing the best they can, the best that they can may be difficult for me. So maybe I need to, the best thing I can do to be graceful with them is to just step out of the situation and give them some space. Or maybe I can give them a word of encouragement. You're really coming at me with both guns ablazing right now, but I know you're having a hard time, so I'm not going to fire back. Sometimes something like that will really shake somebody up and really help them to see how they're behaving. And that's what it comes down to. We get to choose every day, all day, multiple times a day, how we're going to show up in any situation. And when you start your day and you go through your morning routine, you have your meditation, you have a good breakfast, maybe you get a little exercise, you're drinking your water, all the stuff we were talking about earlier in the week. When you've got that good morning routine, you are better able to absorb or deflect, depending on what needs to happen, what's coming your way. You're not a victim of it. You are in control. Everything that comes your way, you don't have to take in. You get to choose. Does this serve me? Okay, I'll take a cup of that. That right there, it's bitter. I don't want any parts of it. You can keep that. You control your environment, especially your emotional environment, just that much if you connect to it and realize that you have the control. So I'm just here to remind you that you do. And I'm going to ask these questions one more time because I know we've had a few people join since we got started. And the object of today was to talk about self gratitude and to get a gauge of how you feel about yourself. And one of the ways that I can help you get that gauge is to ask you a few questions and then to say a few adjectives over you, about you, and then you determine how those feel. I really need you to be connected with your inner self. And as you hear these words and as you try to answer those questions, what's going on in your body? Are you getting discomfort? Are you beaming because it just sounds like you and you agree? Are you trying to, yeah, but and trying to excuse these things? That's a place where you may have discovered that there's some negative self-talk going on, and we can do some work to change that. So the first question I asked at the top of the call was, what is your best quality? How easy is it for you to say what's good about you? Or do you really have to think about it? Or does it make you feel uncomfortable just talking about it? It shouldn't. What's your best quality? Why should someone be excited to get to know you? When they get to enter your circle, when they get to be in your space, what are they getting? Why should they be excited? What are you most proud of about yourself? What's your biggest accomplishment? How does answering these questions make you feel? Are you doing okay? If any of them were uncomfortable, write them down. Or if you couldn't come up with an answer for any of them, write them down and then come back to them later and spend some time just thinking about them and seeing what's coming up. Why couldn't I come up with what's my best quality? Is there something that's making it difficult for me to see myself in a positive light? You just need to start asking yourself these types of questions so you can really connect and do the work to clean it up if there's something there. And then the words that I want to say over you guys is, I'm going to say you are, you say I am. You either say it out loud, you write it on the paper, or if you're not in a place to where you can talk out loud, just say it in your head. I am brilliant. I am exceptional. I am loyal. I am smart. I am beautiful. If there are any men watching, I'm handsome. I am a good person. Do you know how many people don't believe that about themselves? It's so sad. If you're out there giving life the best that you have to give it, whether you're winning right now or you're still trying to catch up, if you're doing the best you can with what you have, you're a good person. It's not a measure of how much you have. It's a measure of your heart. It's a measure of your intention. It's a measure of the inner person that's you. Has nothing to do with the drapings. I am a good person. I'm honest. This is one of my favorites. Everybody, I hope you can say this. I am enough. Just as I am, I'm enough. I am lovable. I am wonderful. I'm important. I'm special. I'm innovative, a deep thinker. I'm witty, and I'm intelligent. So those are some of my favorite words. There's so many that could be applied to any of us, but the object of the game is to hear those words and see if they stick. Does it sound like you? Is it who you believe yourself to be? And if not, write that word down and spend some time. If the questions you couldn't be answered, write them down and spend some time reviewing them and feeling them and seeing what comes up. And if you struggle, DM me, reach out, let's talk. I've got a free class, Transforming Your Inner Critic into Your Inner Advocate. And that's literally what it's about, connecting with that self-talk and so it's working out against you. All right. So I know this is a little bit different than what we usually talk about on Thursdays, but you can't be thankful and you can't be grateful and have a heart of gratitude if you don't already have that for yourself. So today was all about self-gratitude, seeing what's special, what's unique, what's wonderful about you, and having that in the front of your mind, not somewhere in the back, not something that people have to pull out of you, but knowing, regardless of what's happening around you, regardless of what life looks like, the person, the being, the real core of you is something that's special, something that's wonderful. Know that and own that, and it puts you in a position to do the work to deal with what's going on externally. We have to get the internal aligned first, and then we can tackle the external. It doesn't have a chance. The external world does not have a chance against a person who is internally sound and grounded and believes in themselves. And that's my hope for all of you guys. So if you caught it, please leave me some comments. I know this is a little bit different than what we usually do, but I really wanted to make sure this week we're talking about how, and we're doing some things to help you implement the different topics that we talk about. So drop me a message. Let me know how it's going, what your thoughts are. If you see this later, hashtag replay, and I'll come back to it and respond to your comments. For those of you who spent your lunch break with me, or at least a part of it, thank you so much for being here. I am Cassandra Terry, your manifesting miracle maker. We're going to call it a broadcast, and I will be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central, for Focus Friday. And we will talk about ways that we can really focus and hone in on what it is we're trying to accomplish. All right. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Let me know if you need the link to the class. It's free. It really helps you with getting the mindset right and thinking those negative thoughts. So let me know if you need it, and I'll get it right over to you. And that's it for today. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Bye, guys. All right, Bridget, I see you. I will send you the link as soon as I finish shutting down the broadcast.